Obviously being there last year and learning all about the culture and how the team runs and how they get involved with the state and everything was obviously something I really enjoyed and took a lot from. And to come back, I think hopefully have another good year. Um, yeah, sort of just the whole experience last year made it easy for me to make the decision really.
And I guess what are your goals for the year? Is it just get more minutes, or is it just to continue to sort of develop alongside the rest of the squad? What conversations have you had with the coach in terms of where to for this year?
Sort of just to make strides in my own game, obviously fit in with the team and all that. But as long as I'm making strides, then whether that means minutes or whatever that is, that's sort of just my goal. Being a development player and young is to just keep learning and getting better as I go.
And obviously you're back home playing at the moment. How's all that going? And are you getting stuff out of playing over there? I guess that, like you were saying, developing as you go. Are you picking up more and more each day that you can bring back over to Tassie?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, limited minutes in the ANBL season last year, so it was amazing just to get back over here and finally see the court a bit more. So I've definitely feel like I've improved a lot or taken a lot from Tassie back over to here, and hopefully be able to do the same on my time coming back.
Awesome, mate. Look forward to having you back. I'll throw it over to anyone else who wants to take over, KB.
I'll go then. Hey, well, Jared from the Mercury here, mate. Congrats on the signing. Last year, you obviously didn't get much court opportunity. Do you feel you're ready to sort of make a jump? And you said you just want to sort of keep improving. Do you feel you've got it in you, I guess, this year to sort of take that jump and get some more court time this year?
I think so, for sure. As a player, you always got to back yourself, but it's just the work you put in and every day at training. Like Scott's happy to play anyone who's willing to put in the work and show that they've got the stuff to be out there on the court. So I certainly think so.
And what are there certain areas of your game that either you want to improve on or that Scott and the coaching staff are telling you to work on? Where do you think you can improve to sort of take that next jump?
I think being young, just everything, but probably specifically just becoming like a real knockdown shooter. Because for sort of that 3-and-D role, there's always a spot for someone like that. So I think that's somewhere I could see myself fitting in. So probably just becoming a real consistent shooter.
Thanks, mate. That's all from me.
Cheers.
Hi, mate. Chris here from ABC. Any idea as to this stage how the ins and outs will affect your role on the team with, Jorrick coming in and Junior and then a couple of the other guys leaving? Does that sort of open things up for you a little bit or change your role or position in the side at all?
I'm not too sure really. I'm just sort of going to get over and just work as hard as I can and try and prove myself. And I'm not sure with what exact roles that means or anything. I'm just gonna do my best. So yeah.
How nice is it to have a 3-year deal locked away? It gives you some real sort of certainty going forward. You don't have to worry about things. I suppose you're locked in for a good amount of time.
Yeah, no, it's a great feeling knowing I've got 2 years as a development player to really improve on my game, and by the time that third year comes, hopefully be like really ready to take on the fully rostered gig. So yeah.
And just on that, must be a nice feeling, given it's a genuine show of confidence in you. I think a 3-year deal amongst Jack Jumpers players is reasonably rare. So a really nice show of confidence in you from Scott Rothland.
Yeah, definitely. Super stoked that they've put the confidence in me to sign me for that long. So no, super happy.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Yes.
Hi there, it's John from from Seven Tasmania. You obviously got those minutes, a couple of minutes this year. Was that something that's kind of inspired you to stick around, and the fact that you can get a few minutes, that you'll just continue to stick around and just push your spot?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, getting a wee taste of it it's a great feeling to get out there and get a little bit of a chance and a little sniff of what could be. But obviously, like I said earlier, like Scott will play anyone who's willing to work hard and do the things that he wants. So there's definitely opportunities there for guys. So
You spoke a little bit about it just before there in terms of like over in New Zealand. Is it you using that as almost like a pre-season in a way to try some things out to get some game time and just work on your skills?
Yeah, I suppose a little bit. Obviously, I just want to do whatever the team needs to win. But yeah, I suppose, a little bit of that, a few more minutes, try my hand a little bit more. So yeah.
How are you enjoying being in the Jack Jumpers program and looking forward to the next 3 years? How much do you enjoy it and enjoy being in the program?
Yeah, the day-to-day is great, whether it's individuals and training and weights. The whole thing is super fun to be a part of. So
Brilliant. That's all from me. Thank you.
yes.
Thanks, Walt. You're welcome.
I've
to
just
stay on
got
the
one
call.
other
Go
one other
on,
quick one if I can,
Darren.
KB.
Go for it.
Walt, a lot's been spoken about Sammy Mack. Not Sammy Mack, Shawnee Mack, and his rise as a development player. Does that at all give you inspiration, or I guess a blueprint to show that, regardless of being a DP, it's really an opportunity there to sort of establish a role, and a DP isn't just sort of penciled in as a development player. You can really get a role as an established player on the Jack Jumpers.
Yeah, definitely. Shawnee's a great example of that. Someone who was a development player and just showed that he could mix it with everyone and anyone. And Scott saw that, and you're going to play whatever guys is going to get the job done. So he's definitely someone to, like I said, the blueprint of what you want to do as a development player. So.
Not at all. We've still got 2 DP spots left, so we're still in conversations with lots of different people. So I guess, yes, obviously we're hoping to work with those Tassie boys and see if we get them in the squad, but we've also got to keep our options open and be flexible as well, just in case those guys do decide to turn us down. But I think, it's never been Walter or Trey. I think Walter was someone we worked with last year and obviously grew a lot with us last year and has shown that in the New Zealand NBL in our off-season and is playing really well. And there was lots of clubs sniffing around Walt, so for us, we really wanted to get him locked in long term, and we see a bright future in that. So I think that's sort of shown by the level of commitment we've put to him.
You're putting a deadline on signing those last couple of DP spots. Obviously, there is I guess we saw in the off season after season 1 that there's a point where you've just got to bail out. Like I just used the Josh Adams example. Are you putting a deadline on the Armstrongs and anyone else that's out there?
No, we haven't as of yet, but yes, there will be a point in time where you need to get moving. I guess a market like Tasmania, we need to use all our 4 DP spots because there's not as much talent around like a Melbourne United, South East Melbourne Phoenix or the Kings. They've got a lot more talent in market, so they can bring in more training players, which takes the pressure off the DP roles. But with us, it's a twofold. Obviously, I think as a club, we've shown that we will play our DPs. Last year, we had Whitey and Shawnee Mack play a lot of minutes from a DP spot, and Scott likes to have a 13-man rotation. So we're definitely looking at options to make sure we've got our full contingent of DPs. And I think on the flip side of that, for people like Walter and Sean and the last 2 spots who do come across, it's a really great opportunity because they know they're coming to a club where minutes are available, and if you're good enough and you've got Scott's trust, you will get on the court.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Thanks, Macca.
Jorrick here, mate. Just to follow up on those DP questions from Macca.
Yeah.
With Trey Armstrong specifically, where does that sort of negotiation currently sit? Are you just, I guess, waiting on him to make a decision, or where's that at?
Yeah, I don't really want to go into too much detail around the twos and throws and the negotiations. Obviously, I think Scott was pretty adamant that we were keen to get him, and we're obviously working with Trey and his team around what that might look like and how he might fit with us. I think, it's obviously hard decisions for those guys because they want to keep their options open as well and look at other opportunities potentially, but they're also drawn to us being from Tasmania as well. So I guess for us, it's about being patient and giving them the time to make an informed decision that suits them, as well as also being realistic with us. And as you said, at some point in time, we may need to say to them, are you in or you out? But at the moment, we're giving them as much time as we can to make those decisions that are going to work best for them and us.
And is Kai Savage in that the same boat, or is it different for him?
No, we're talking to all Tasmanian talents and other talents as well. Obviously, Kai's a name that's been thrown around before, so we're chatting with him and his team. But again, don't like to go into too much specifics on DPs because they are tough positions to fill, and there's lots of names that are floating around that we're looking at. But yeah, obviously, as we said, where there's talent in Tasmania that we feel is good enough to contribute at an NBL level, we obviously have conversations with those guys, and we would like them to play with us, but also understand that, you know, being a professional league, they can choose to go other places. So we're obviously in dialogue and putting forward offers that we think are strong offers to these sorts of people, and we hope that they pick to come and play with us.
Absolutely, and you mentioned earlier in the week you've obviously got that last one Aussie full roster spot, and there's a lot of moving parts, as you said the other day. I guess, is there a time frame on when you're wanting or hoping to sort of get that last Aussie spot locked in, or how's that looking?
Yeah, we're in dialogue with a lot of different options at the moment. So there's probably 3 or 4 that we're really working through at the moment. In terms of timeline to get them signed and done, not really specific. I guess for us, we start pre-season early August. So I guess as a timeline, that's probably when you'd want to have that body signed. So you've got the body in for pre-season; they're not coming in late. But yeah, in terms of whether it takes, you know, another week, 2 weeks, or another month, like we're in no great rush to do that. We're just going through our due diligence and making sure that we get a player that's going to be able to contribute to our group. And also, you know, Scott's big on character and culture fit, so some of that one's going to fit, and 2 can add value to the group and obviously improve the team.
And last one from me, with those fellas you're looking at in that Aussie spot, is there a specific role or position that you're looking to fill, or do they vary, those guys you're looking at in terms of their position?
They vary a bit, so we're sort of exploring a couple of different options, and I suppose where we land with our Australian spot will then help us inform where we go with our import spots as well. So there is, you know, options of smalls and options of bigs that we're playing through, and that'll dictate down the line what we decide to do in those other positions.
Perfect, thanks mate.
Josh, what's the situation in Turkey at the moment? How many games are remaining? Is there playoffs still to come for Milton?
Interesting question. Yeah, no, we had the same. We were working internally in the office to look at that. So my understanding is he's got a game this weekend at some stage, but there's not a lot of information in English on the Turkish Super League. So they're right on the playoff bubble at the moment. So it'll depend on how he goes this weekend as to whether he's in or out, and then obviously that'll implicate when we can start having those conversations with him and his team. But yeah, obviously hopefully for his sake he wins and they go really deep in the playoffs. There's a great playoffs, but selfishly you would like that to finish a bit quicker so we can start those conversations.
Just one on another issue from me. I want to talk around stadiums and footy team, obviously, at the moment. The issue with you guys at my state, maybe having a couple of thousand more seats is sort of bubbling away over the last 6 months. Any further discussion or movement on that issue, given the context of what we're talking about at that point at the moment?
Yeah, well, obviously, me in my role, I work solely for the Jack Jumpers, so I don't really have any oversight of how the arena goes about expansion. But as a tenant of My State Bank Arena, we would love extra seating in there, and I'm hoping that Larry and his team and the My State Bank Arena team are working with the government and the different bodies, federal and state and local government to obviously make that happen. I guess for us, we would love as many members in the facility, in the arena, as they can, supporting the Jack Jumpers, and you know, for us, it's a big growth opportunity for us. So where we can, we advocate that we'd like a bigger arena, but the nuts and bolts and all the nitty gritty of the conversations are managed by the arena.
Is there a number on the amount of seats you'd like to see, whether it be another 800 or 2,000 or?
I don't know the specifics, but what do you reckon, mate? Another 2,000, another 3, another 4? I think as many as we can get. I think realistically, without being silly, just probably around that. You know, our sweet spot for us is probably around that 7. I think, you know, 6 to 7 is probably a really good spot for us to operate in. We don't want it too big that to sell it out every game is going to be hard, but we know from the demand we've currently got at the moment, we could probably squeeze another 1,500 to 2,000 people quite comfortably in there for big marquee games. And then on the smaller games, obviously we've got to work a bit harder to move the seats. But yeah, I think another couple of thousand seats would be great for us. And as I said, we'll work with whichever party we do. That's the arena, and that's also local government, federal government, and state government, to make sure that we can obviously do everything we can to sell how we can fill that arena. But I think from that perspective too, obviously Jack Jumpers as the anchor tenant is one thing. I think a bigger arena in that space will also open up opportunities for other acts to come and you know, visit Tasmania. I think it's a great opportunity for us all, not just the basketball team. If a bigger arena was there, that it'd open up different opportunities for all the people of Tasmania. No, actually, surprisingly, I thought he was going to be a bit of downtime for the first week, but I've had a couple of chats to him this week. had a bit of a rough start. He wasn't feeling the best when he first got home, but he's back on the mend. I got a photo from him this morning, sitting on his patio, smoking a cigar and looking at the view of the lake out of his window. So I was very impressed. It hasn't taken him long to get back into it, and I think probably by the end of the week he'll be on his little bike thing that he rides around and causing a bit of a ruckus over there in Miami. No, he's well and truly involved. So like we're obviously, we recruit as a team, and obviously my part of that team is when we get to the negotiation points. But it's always been a thing with talent identification. We've obviously got a process that we work behind the scenes with our assistant coaches. Scotty's obviously part of that as well, and Mika as our basketball consultant works in that, and we put in a lot of effort. I think one thing we really pride ourselves on is doing a lot of background work in terms of culture and fit. Obviously, talent is important, but we want to make sure we get guys that are going to fit into the way that Scott coaches and the way we want the group to operate. And then obviously, as the last piece of that puzzle is, are they going to make the team better? So Roth is definitely around in all those conversations, and we've got multiple group chats going on. And with the time difference in the States, the sweet spot for him is as soon as we get up in the morning till about 12 o'clock lunchtime, Roth is always available. So we've got plenty of access to him, and he's still working hard over there. It's obviously just a little bit better climate at the moment.
Cool, cheers, mate. Over to you, Jason.
Sure, just a final one on the next, mentioned early in the week.
Yep.
What's the process with that in regards to, does the NBL have sort of the pool of next stars and then they form at every club and then the club are allowed to just go discuss with them and see if they're a good fit, or does the NBL have an actual say on which team the next stars go to? How does that work?
So obviously the NBL control the Next Stars program. So yes, as you said, they have a pool of talent, and there's constant sort of dialogue with the coaches and the GMs around which players are available and who might suit the Next Star criteria. You are also welcome to go out and try to source your own players and ask the NBL whether they'd be suitable for the Next Star program. But I guess for the NBL, it's obviously the criteria for them is a very strong chance of them being drafted either in next year's draft or the draft after that. So they use a lot of intel on that and go through a lot of draft boards to see who are in the top 100 players in those 2 years of the draft and use that. And then from our perspective, we work with obviously Jeremy Lolia and Liam Santamaria are the two guys that lead up that for the NBL department, and we express interest in guys. And then when it gets to a point, you have a Zoom with their team and talk through the opportunity, how that might look, and then it's up to the player if there's multiple teams to pick which team they'd like to go to. And we've obviously, we had Nikita year one, and there's been other guys that we've been in dialogue with and gone a long way with over the last, this season and even last season as well that we go through. It's a very competitive market, as you can imagine. There's obviously NBL teams, but there's also lots of different markets with G League Ignite. There's different programs in Europe and different programs in America outside of G League Ignite too that are quite appealing for these guys. And I guess from their perspective, they want to make sure one, it's a good playing fit, good development fit, but also a good fit for them to get to the NBA. So there's a lot of boxes to tick, which makes the process a lot slower than if you're just recruiting an import or recruiting an Australian. So it does take a lot longer. And the guys we're looking at in this program, we're probably going to have to wait until probably June, I would think, to even know if we've got a chance of getting them. So it's just going to have to be patient on those as well.